Hello, thank you for joining us here at ABC Office for our web training series, Do You Know? My name is Derek, and today we're going to be talking about comb binding. We have a few different styles of comb binding machines here. We've got some manual comb binding machines. These are two different versions. One you could see has the full bar on the top. The advantage of having a manual machine with the full bar on the top is gives you a little more leverage when you're punching through paper. It can be kind of difficult when you're punching through multiple sheets of 20-pound paper, so this kind of gives you, a little bit easier to use. One disadvantage of using this machine is you got to be careful if you're punching too many sheets of paper or applying too much pressure. You can actually bend this whole unit, and in here where it connects to the actual machine, it gets all skewed, and you won't have a smooth punching feature. This other model has just the single arm on the side that punches. You can see all the dies dropping down as it punches. You'll put your paper in here and use these dies when you punch down. The other feature to this, the binding element, is you'd push away from yourself to actually engage the binding element. So it's one operation on those ones. Now again, back to this full bar is the binding element. Has a little lever on the side here. That would be how you would use the binding element on this particular machine. We also have our electric punch machines. This machine is used only to punch the paper, not to actually bind the paper. So if you get something that is electric, like this interchangeable 3-to-1 wire punch, you would have to get a separate machine to do the binding process. However, these are nice because you can do several different functions with this. You can do wire binding, you could get a die for comb binding, you can get a die for spiral binding, and then all you would do is you order the machine, the actual unit, and then you can order your dies. So this is just the tray for all your waist punch, and it's got your measuring guide on here as well. But all you would do is order the one machine, and then you can actually disengage right here. You disengage this die, the whole piece comes off, and you can just purchase multiples of these, whatever it is that you're going to be working on. This is a very durable professional machine. It's meant for companies that need to be punching lots of reports constantly, schools, universities. It also has the electric foot pedal for punching. Some of them have a button on the machine. This one doesn't. This particular model doesn't, but there's a button that you could also use to punch through the paper. Now, I also want to cover our combo machines. These machines are great if you are doing several different types of reports or binding. You can use this particular one has a 3-to-1 wire binder on it, as well as a 9/16 comb binder. These are interchangeable. You factory order, whatever it is you're going to need to get. You factory order which machines, and you can have two on one machine at a time. It also has all your guides for your wire binding, and you can see in here the punch guide for your paper for comb binding as well. Now, comb binding is great for if you have unsecure documents, unsecure reports, or a lot of rough drafts and you're going to be needing to change out paperwork constantly, or maybe you work at a restaurant that you guys are constantly changing out your menu, these are great to have. These combs are really indestructible almost. I mean, you'd have to basically take some scissors and cut through them, but you can reuse them. They don't actually give a permanent bind. They'll hold it permanently, but it doesn't have to stay permanent. Now, I want to go ahead and demonstrate to you how one of these machines work. They're fairly simple to use, but I'll show you kind of some of the problems that you could run into, or just give you a couple tips as far as what to do with these machines. Again, one of our favorite machines here at ABC Office for whenever we're doing reports or anything like that is our paper jogger. You can find these on www.abcoffice.com along with all of our binding machines and binding supplies. This is good when you have paper that's all jostled up. It's hard to sit here instead of pounding on the table, just throw your paper in there, not plugged in. Throw your paper in there, turn it on, and then you have a nice crisp jog stack of paper. Now, when using the comb binding machine, all your paper is going to be 11 inches long. This is standard 20-pound copy paper. Again, this is the most common size of paper. You can use, obviously there are other sizes of paper that you can use. This machine and several others like it have disengaging dies. So what that means is if I pull that out, I'm not going to get a punch at the end of my page and have a half punch. Also, you want to keep in mind you don't want any of the dies engaged where you're actually wanting to punch the paper, because then you're going to have a missed punch. So you just take this, and this machine's nice because it has your 11-inch already set up here, and you place it in the machine. Use the, make sure it's in there good. Use the punch handle. So you could see on this one, I didn't disengage that die, and it's got a half punch there. It does a very nice job. It looks clean. The spacing will be even. Let me show you. So we'll disengage that one, and you can see right here on the die guide that it's got your 11-inch mark right there as well. So really simple for if you're using plain 20-pound paper. You've got your holes nice and punched, even on both ends. No half punches, no missed punches. Another thing is you can use these poly covers, and it will punch through those. I wouldn't recommend using punching through paper and the covers at the same time. But you can see it punch through that with no issues. And we'll do green one. Red and green for Christmas. See, now you have your report ready to go. All you have to do is line that up, and I'll show you how to put the comb in. These combs come in different diameters. This is important to know for when you're creating your reports. You're not going to want to use a larger diameter for a report that's only got a few pages in it. And you can, but you're going to have a lot of movement in the report with the binding part of it. So you would use a bigger diameter for a larger report versus a smaller diameter for a smaller book or report. And we do on our website, we have a guide to kind of show you the thickness. You know, they come in different diameters, and we have a guide on there as well as a punch pattern that you can find under our customer resources and FAQ. And one thing to remember with binding, when you're setting it up on the comb binding part, you'll always want this spine towards the back of the machine. You'll want the fingers to curl out towards you. So if you're facing the machine, you'll want it towards the back of the machine and curling out towards you. It's got these little back plates here. You can see on these. You take your comb and you just slide it down in so it's sitting in between those fingers on the machine, and then it's resting up against that. Now you'll notice you can see these little hooks right here. You'll want to push your lever back so that the hooks go away from the center of the comb, and then make sure your comb's in there and make sure it's going to grab it. You can see how that kind of hooks in there, and when you do it, your fingers are going to uncurl towards you. Take your report, insert them in like that, and disengage it. And there you have your finished. See, in some of these, you can see what happened is this one's been kind of worn out. It's getting a little uncurled, but you could just simply fold those underneath the spine so you don't have that issue. And you can see you got your nice Christmas report. Another nice thing is these will open 360 degrees, and they'll also lay flat on the table. It makes a very clean presentation. The nice thing too, I was mentioning earlier how if you need to change something in your report, you see a typo, or you have a menu that that you need to be changing out, you know, items on the menu constantly, you could easily just slide this back on the machine. And you can see when I put it on there, I'll show you again how I put it in there, and I push this, it kind of dropped down in. That's one way you could tell that it's sitting in there properly. And again, you just pull it towards you and it'll unbind. And then you can edit whatever it is in your report that you need to edit. Now, another thing, people tend to put these on backwards or upside down. So you can see I showed you the proper way to put them on. Some people turn them around so it's upside down. And this is a common mistake, and people wonder why they're having issues. And when you go to bind it, it's just going to throw it right off the machine. So always remember to have the spine towards the back of the machine, and you'll want the fingers to uncurl from the top towards you, like this. So you can find all of our comb binding machines and supplies, along with all of our other great machines, on our website at www.abcoffice.com. If you'd like to schedule a one-on-one training, say you want to sit down with your employees and actually have a training with us on how to use these machines, what their applications can be for your company, and have a personalized training session, you can always get in contact with one of our friendly sales staff at 1-800-658-8788, or email us at sales@abcoffice.com. You can find all of these machines and, again, all of our other wonderful products at abcoffice.com. Thank you for joining us for our Do You Know series. We will have training sessions starting in January of 2018. We would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and thank you for joining us from all of us here at ABC Office.